I'm taking Canada's longest train ride for its entire course, going from Halifax all the way to Vancouver, cutting through 8 Canadian provinces and spending 192 hours on board via rail. The train ride through Canada is arguably the most inconvenient way to see the country. There's no Wi-Fi on board, barely any service, and it takes almost twice as long to get to the end as driving does. So logically, this trip is designed for people who have a lot of time to sit down and stare out a window. Back in September though, I decided to travel from tip to tip across my country and to do it by train, making a plan to hop on board via rail and ride from one province to the next, spend a full week discovering that province, and then rinse and repeat until I make it all the way over to Vancouver. And this video is about that journey. But in order to properly start this video off, we're gonna go back all the way east to Halifax. Okay, so this is train number 1 of the Halifax to Vancouver, Canada's longest train ride journey. Right now, first trip, Halifax to Moncton. It's gonna be 4 hours, and first time on a train in what, I don't know, 5-6 years, so I'm pumped. Nova Scotia is one of the prettiest provinces in Canada, especially around the fall when the leaves start to change. And as I stare out the window en route to New Brunswick, I can't help but think back to this amazing week that I've had. Whether it was driving all the way through the Cabot Trail and taking a polar dip in one of its many lookout spots, going lobster fishing on a rural island that needed boat access to get to, or spending a day with Darren, a 7-time world champion that gave us a rundown on how to be an expert lumberjack. Those 3 experiences and the many more that I had made this 1 week in Nova Scotia feel almost too short. All right, Moncton, New Brunswick. This is stop number 1. We've done 4 hours. We have 188 hours to go. But before we get back on the train, let me show you a little bit of New Brunswick. New Brunswick is underrated, plain and simple. It's one of those provinces that doesn't get enough credit for its views, and the best way to travel it is to just continue to move around the province, find those little gems, and not really have an itinerary. But my time is getting cut short here because I'm also heading over to PEI during this week off the train. Now, PEI does not disappoint. It is Canada's smallest province, but if you're into beaches, potatoes, and a lot of greenery, you'll get really big off this place. So 2 weeks later, we're back in front of the Moncton train station, and this time we're not going for a simple 4-hour train ride. We're going for a 14-hour train ride from here all the way to Quebec City, and that's where we're continuing this journey for stopover number 2. So on this train, we won't be riding in economy class like we did last time. Instead, we've got a sleeper cabin. So the way it works in the sleeper cabins is they look a little bit more different than they do in economy class. That's because everybody has their own locked room that faces the window, but also faces another window. You've got 2 chairs, plenty of room for ourselves, but the cool thing is eventually these will transform into 2 bunk beds when we want to go to sleep. We've got a nice closet, some cup holders, a drawer, a garbage bin. This is the bathroom. Oh, we just got called on. It says final call to go and eat some dinner. We made a reservation at 7:30 p.m. So now it's time to go and eat. I'm really trying to show this menu to you guys without moving. Not an easy task. It's cool to just like sit and stare into the window and just see all the different houses and neighborhoods you pass by, and you're like, wow, people really live here. Like, their highlight for a lot of people is probably watching the train go by. Got tofu on top of rice with veggies. I think more vegetables. I honestly don't know what this is. A little dessert, some crackers, and some guacamole. Tofu, good. Pink stuff, good. Guac, good.
What's not to like? Custard, good. Jam, good. Meat, good.
What I really like about this bed actually is how tucked in you are. Like, the covers, the way that they make it before you get into the bed, are really tight and like locked in. So if you don't mess around with them, you're just kind of snuggled in like a pig in a blanket, and it's pretty darn comfortable if you ask me. Thank you for all your help, Janet. Janet's the best.
It was a great time. Have a great journey.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now we're off to Quebec City. Quebec is North America's best interpretation of Europe, and my time in Quebec City is defined by sleeping overnight in a 400-year-old Catholic nuns monastery, and then in a luxury First Nations hotel. 2 accommodations with completely different cultures and history. Now, I'm from Montreal, and after 5 weeks of being away from my family, I'm making sure to stop by and say hi. And by the way, if you're wondering if Montreal's famous St. Viateur bagels are part of my family, they are. So we're heading to province number 6 now. Man, this is train ride number 4 or 5. Still 100+ hours left to go in this ride over to Vancouver, but at least we get to stop over in Montreal, get to see the family, see my friends, and enjoy a little bit of the city. We're sitting on a train for 4.5 hours. I mean, no one wants to last that long while sober, right? No, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. We can do it. But we'll have some wine anyways. Oh, this wine is so good, Mikey.
7 glasses with lunch.
Mikey, take me drunk, I'm home. Mikey. Alright, I'm good now. Well, as we get closer to Toronto, we start seeing some beautiful water. And that's actually not the ocean. These are the Great Lakes. We're getting to see every single little bit of Canada on the train here. We're into Ontario, and so that means we're just one step closer to getting to our final destination. You know we're in the 6th when you got the CN Tower and Rogers Center right there. Oh man, I haven't been here in 7 years. It's good to be back. Ontario is far more than the 6th god himself, and because I've been there so much already in my lifetime, I wanted to try something new. So my week here is defined by a trip to Pelee Island, the southernmost point in Canada, which is an island known for producing world-renowned wines. But I will say, because I've been to Ontario so much already, I really did take a few days off here to rest. And that's because I knew that the next train I'm about to board is going to be a long one. So the train that I'll be riding today is called the Canadian. It is Via Rail's longest train, and in fact Canada's longest train ride, and it goes all the way from right here in Toronto to Vancouver. Isn't that kind of crazy to think just how big Canada is? I mean, 36 hours only gets you to the next province over, but that just means there's a lot more time for new adventures. Well, this is what it looks like from the outside, but as nice as it is from there, I'd rather see it from inside. Check out this room. Oh my lord. Look at this. We have 2 chairs. Big window. This is a drinking water tap, different from the tap for your washing your hands. Of course, a little bit of art. That's beautiful. A nice little fan. Ah, cool. So these are shower essentials, which means we have access to a shower on this train. Not only that, but because I'm sleeping alone, I get 2 shower accesses. Oh my god, look at the bathroom. It's just you and the toilet. I don't think I've ever been in such an enclosed space, but I think I like it. Especially that I'm alone and I don't have to worry about anyone over here smelling what they might smell. Okay, buddy, it's just you and me in the room. You want the window or you want the aisle? The aisle? Yeah, I'll take the window. Sure. Ah, so nice to travel with someone who doesn't complain. God, I wonder what Mike's up to in room C. Hey. You have 2 chairs also?
You have 2 chairs too?
We have 4 chairs.
4 chairs between the 2 of us? That's right. You're coming. You got a chair. I've got a chair.
Friends off the train.
And on the train.
And on the train. The Canadian is a whole other experience from the last 2 Via Rail trains I took. There's a lounge car, a dome car, and a dining car that includes hot food freshly prepared in a kitchen. This is absolutely beautiful. And that's something I would think you could get on a train. And you've got some beautiful silverware and napkins, and the whole dining car is just gorgeous. It feels like you're in a 1950s, 1960s car, and apparently you are.
Yeah, this car was built in 1954, 1950s, 1960s, so
they mix modern with vintage, and it's got quite the charm to it. This is our lunch. Pulled pork sandwich, potato salad. Cheers.
cheers, buddy. To fall in Ontario. Cheers.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
We're gonna keep on cheersing.
Everyone, including myself, on this train has no Wi-Fi and no service. So all we can do is sit, stare at the changing landscapes of Ontario, have a few drinks, have more drinks, stare a bit more, and become friends with each other. Now, I've made a few friends so far, and to get out of my comfort zone, I'm going to try to convince everyone to have a dance party with me. I was thinking of making a dancing segment where I would just incorporate everyone or people on the train. Okay, so this is the song. It's a copyright-free song. Would you be open to it? No? I have a move for you though. Well, we have a train move that I made fun of Mike for because he loves trains. It would just require just this. Sure. Karen, if you want to come here, Sandy, if you want to go there. Okay, ready? Yeah. town. Welcome to Manitoba. Well, it's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Safe travels.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for making our trip really special.
Guys, I can't believe you're doing this. I know, Ken.
You were like the main part of our fun.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You're a good person.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah. All right. We have arrived. Welcome to Manitoba. Welcome to Winnipeg. This is the beginning of province number 7 of 10. Manitoba is a Canadian province that is typically looked over. But if you open your eyes wide enough, you're sure to find a ton to do. When I was here, I took my turn at trying to learn how to become a professional curling player, went upside down at the largest yoga studio in Canada, took a mental reset at arguably the most luxurious spa in the country, and found the world's largest Icelandic settlement outside of Iceland. It's a small town by the name of Gimli. Right now, I'm about to check into my room. We've got the bed all set up here. Well, it's gonna be set up soon. And we've got the toilet right there. So as I'm going across Canada, I really wanted to show you guys every single possible type of room on Via Rail. And as you guys are gonna see soon, I'm still gonna show you the rest of the types of classes on the Canadian as we go from trip to trip and place to place. Right now though, I am in the bed of the 1-person cabin. It's got quite the amount of spacious room, but I guess the one interesting thing and the one big difference with the 2-person cabin is that if I open the bed up in the 1-person cabin, well then I can't access the bathroom because the toilet's actually right under this bed. And if I do have to go to the bathroom, either I've got to use a general bathroom down the hall, or I've got to lift the entire bed up, go to the bathroom, and then put that back down again. It's kind of an interesting setup, but it is pretty practical. It does work. It's just not a great situation if you're having stomach problems and you're constantly in the bathroom because your room, well, you're not gonna want to be in your room. It's quite a bumpy ride on the train tonight, but you know what they say, it's kind of like counting sheep. Count the bumps on the train and you'll be asleep in no time. So good night. I'm gonna go to bed right now, and when I wake up, we'll be in Saskatchewan for the next leg of this adventure. Saskatchewan is the last province I've yet to visit in Canada, and it absolutely blew away all expectations, which, you know, is probably because all I've ever heard about this province is that it's flat and boring. But my week here spent kicking field goals with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, making deli sandwiches with the locals, and driving 8 hours north of Saskatoon to live with an indigenous family on a boat access only lodge. Saskatchewan easily provided the most life-changing experiences of this trip, and it's a must-see place if you're taking the train through Canada. And so this train is going to take me for the next 12 hours all the way to Edmonton, Alberta, and that will be province 9 of 10. And the best part about being here is you get to catch sunset, and everyone else who's on the train in this car has stopped what they're doing just to stare out into the window and see what Saskatchewan has to offer. Now the most beautiful part about being in the Rockies is all of the places you get to stop and all of the things you get to look at. Now the weather can be completely unpredictable, but that is the beautiful part of being here in Alberta. But this isn't the only landscape we're gonna see. During my week in Alberta, I'm on my way over to the Rockies to see the first snowfall in Banff, and then heading back down south to catch a sunset in the Badlands, spending 48 hours at an indigenous horseback riding and archery ranch, and then finishing the trip off in Edmonton with 24 hours at the largest mall in North America. Well, at least thinking I was going to finish the trip off.
I just got an email from Via Rail saying, unfortunately, and due to excessive rain, blah, 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 we've been forced to cancel our operations between Edmonton and Vancouver this week, which means our cross-Canada trip by train might not end by train.
Even though I was at the Via Rail station in Edmonton, the train never came. In fact, I spent over a month in Vancouver hoping for it to come before having to go home for the holidays. Luckily, the train has started to resume operations, and I'm finishing this trip up in style. So this is what the room looks like when it's all set up for bedtime. You've got the bed, which has been fully made, and they've even left us 3 pieces of dark chocolate. We have a closet where I can hang up all my clothes, a sink so I can wash my hands, and a drinking water fountain. In this door is the bathroom, a very simplistic design. It is meant only for one. So this room actually has no TV, has no shower, but there is a shower on board, and for that, they provide you with a shower kit. So anytime that you get a sleeper cabin when you ride with Via Rail, you get access to 2 special cars that nobody else gets access to. Number 1 is a lounge car, and number 2, if you come up the stairs, is called the Dome car. And it is the place that you want to be, especially on this trip, because this trip is going to be riding through the Rockies. This train so far has been delayed 5 hours. We were supposed to arrive in Jasper at 9 a.m. and the sun rises in Jasper at 9 a.m. So we technically would have missed the chance to actually see the Rockies while on the train. But because we're 5 hours late, look what's right behind us. I mean, you have to admit, it is pretty incredible that they were able to build a railway across the Rocky Mountains in Canada. The railway is a big reason why the country of Canada has expanded so much and has become so interconnected, and that's also how they discovered the most well-known touristy spots that you guys probably know, like the Rocky Mountains over here. It's been a wild ride, but 36 more hours on Via Rail have been completed. We officially did it, man. We did it! It's been a long trip. All 10 provinces, tip to tip, coast to coast, Canada. After traveling across 8 provinces, 6,000 kilometers, and 192 hours spent on Via Rail trains, I realized that the train rides through Canada reflect exactly what this country is all about. Canada is a country defined by its scenery. We're massive geographically, but we have a tiny population, yet no matter where you find yourself around here, you'll always be welcomed by open arms. Personally, I didn't think I'd ever get to do this train trip in my life, but after successfully completing it, I can vouch that it's worth anyone's time if you're interested in learning more about who you are and what this country looks and feels like. And by the way, if you haven't been following my channel for the last few months, I've been posting individual videos about my time in all 10 Canadian provinces, some of which you've seen in snippets throughout this video. So if you're curious on an in-depth look at Canadian culture, check them out. And get ready for next week's episode, which is the final one in this 28 episode series, as I head over to Vancouver Island to touch down on the westernmost point in this country. And so I will remind you, if you guys like this video and you want to see more episodes from across Canada, then don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'm Will, and it's a mindset.